Did you think that slavery and ensuing Jim Crow laws had a lasting impact on the black community in the United States?
Some, and that's a good question. So if
What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl and if you're Scarlett. Today you're back again with another video from Charlie Kirk. So today Charlie Kirk humiliates race-baiting sociology students. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So guys, without further ado, let's get started.
Did you think that slavery and ensuing Jim Crow laws had a lasting impact on the black community in the United States?
some, and that's a good question. So if you correlate all the impact of Jim Crow and slavery, I would say that you could generously say 26% single motherhood in the black community in the 1960s. So about 26% of all black babies born in the 1950s and 1960s were born to a single mother. Now it's 77%. So I would ask you, why did it jump 50 points, 50%, since the Civil Rights Act as America got significantly less racist?
So that's fine. I don't know why it jumped. Who cares? But
Well, it wasn't slavery or Jim Crow. It
No.
was something else.
So the only lasting impact that slavery had on the U.S. was that less black families had fathers.
No, not necessarily. But have you ever known anyone that's owned a slave?
No, but I know a few presidents who did.
You know them personally? So you know anyone that was ever a slave?
Well, no, because okay, I don't know anyone who was a slave, so it had no impact?
No, it had some impact. The question is, did it have an impact that is measurable and significant enough now in 2021, where we saw a key metric that influenced the livelihood of the black community, like single motherhood rate, that as America got less racist, all of a sudden now 77% of black babies are born without a father, where before it was 26%. And I suppose the question is this, because this is the question about systemic racism, right? What law that is in practice today actively discriminates against black people?
So here's what I would say to that. The idea of capitalism and America, like you said, is it doesn't matter who you are, show me what you got, is fresh start. So what would happen if you had like 150 years in a country for your family to build wealth, to own a house, to have a job, to get college education for your kids, to build generational wealth? And then you took another family who didn't have the opportunity to do any of that for 150 years and then set them off on the same even starting point. Is that really an even starting point? And would that not result in some kind of systemic disadvantage for those people?
The black middle class was the fastest growing demographic in the 1940s and 1950s until the Great Society Act and that intervention. It's very tempting to do what you're doing. And I'm not faulting you for it, because you've probably been propagandized to believe it. And that's okay, because I think you're actually a victim in this case, because you've been misled to want to believe that things you never lived under, never understood, and that I think you are partially seeing had a disproportionate impact in the world that you're living in today. So for example, if that were to be true, then first-generation immigrants would not be able to quickly make good choices and move up the ladder in this country, which I think we have some first-generation immigrants here tonight. Now, let me say this, that this idea that America is systemically racist to the core would also be quickly debunked by the fact that more blacks have legally immigrated to America since the 1980s than ever were here brought as slaves. Over 2 million blacks from the Caribbean and from Nigeria and from Western Africa have come here to America. So the question is, why is it that in every statistic that you could probably rattle off, are black people doing worse than white people? What is it? Well, I would point to the fact that fathers are not in the home, because it was 26% of black females in the 1960s were single mothers. Now it's 77%. If you look at the Brookings Institution, a liberal think tank, there are 3 things you need to do to stay out of poverty in America. Number 1, graduate high school. Well, because of public sector unions and the dominance of our government schools, that's harder than ever in far too many communities. Not just racial, not just black communities, not just Hispanic communities. The second thing, get a job, any job. And the third thing is to obviously not to commit crimes, but to try to get married before you have children. And so some of what I believe has contributed to the downfall of some of these communities has nothing to do with white people with the neck on black people. Instead, it's the following. Fathers no longer being in the home, the rise of sexual anarchy that came in post-1960s liberalism that removed this idea of sex being confined to a marital relationship to be gratuitous and everywhere. All of a sudden you've seen an increase in not just the birth rate, but the single motherhood rate and abortion alongside of it. I would just ask this question, I'm just curious. How much do you think outputs are based on people's decisions, based on the advantages they're born into?
I mean, as someone who's taken Introduction to Sociology, your life is greatly influenced by what the conditions you're born into. But I promise this will be the last thing. Just, you say there's less fathers in the home of, many black families,
Yes.
and that's the issue. So what do you think is keeping fathers out of the home in those?
It's a great question.
Do you think it could be over-policing and police arresting, like,
We went through this, everybody.
disproportionately? Do you think it could be law enforcement disproportionately enforcing laws in black neighborhoods and arresting more black males than any other demographic?
So blacks are actually under-arrested and under-policed per the percentage of crimes they commit. We talked about some of those numbers. But let me tell you one thing in particular. In the Great Society Act, we decided as a civilization to subsidize single motherhood. In the 1960s, we told black women you no longer need to be married to have children, you can get married to the government. And we saw a dramatic escalation and increase of the deterioration of the nuclear family and a replacement of that of the nanny state and the welfare state. And I would say this, that every single activist group that steps up, that talks about systemic racism and oppression, if you look at the data, purely the data, if there is a movement to put black fathers back in the home and to try and challenge the sexual anarchy that came in the post-1960s and had a more prudent and pious view of sexual relations in America, which is a very unpopular view, by the way, for most Americans, but it's true that before the 1960s, sexual relations were, at least culturally, supposed to always be confined to marital relationships. The more gratuitous that we have been in trying to catalog it in media and in pop culture and in Hollywood and, yes, in schools, then all of a sudden you have seen people say, well, why do I need to get married for that? Marriage is the bedrock institution, and strong families create strong communities, which create strong civilizations. And this is why immigrant communities that have come to America, and first-generation immigrants, they're able to move so quickly up the socioeconomic ladder because they might not have wealth, they might not have big bank accounts, they might not own a lot of land, but they have the thing they know that will keep them together, which is a family that will not be broken up at any means necessary. I'll finally say this. Let me just say this. No, I want to thank you for coming because it took courage to ask that question. I'm just going to ask you to do one thing. Please forget everything you learned in Introduction to Sociology 101 because it was likely all garbage. So thank you so much.
With the whole immigrant thing, you said that, we come at some point you said, oh, you come and you work hard. How about we work hard and it's a guarantee. You used guarantee. That was the exact phrase you used, that we can get somewhere.
If you do 4 things, but go ahead. I should have additioned.
The whole, some of the immigrants, yeah, they may be illegal, but they do work really hard to come here and provide a life for their kids. And then they get snatched away, and their 9-year-old little girl is just sitting there crying and bawling her eyes out why her mom can't be with her after her mom just tried really hard to work really hard for her life.
Okay, so a couple things. If you break the law to get into America, you're putting your kid's life in jeopardy too. We have immigration laws. We have not enforced them. Justice is blind. Justice can be something that must be equally interpreted. When that beautiful statue of Lady Justice, she has a cloth over her eyes because justice is supposed to be blind. You know what happens for a legal immigrant? Let's say a legal immigrant from Indonesia. Mm-hmm. If they want to come to America, they have to prove to the embassy in America that they have not committed a crime for 2 years. If they get sometimes a speeding ticket equivalent in Indonesia or in Korea, their visa will be yanked almost instantaneously. So we have a double standard immigration system. One, where the rest of the world has to operate with a clean bill of health criminally, that they can't break any laws in their home country and they can't break any laws here because they might be subject to deportation or not coming into the country. Then we have a whole different set of laws if you jump across the border. That's not fair and it's not sustainable, because what now ends up happening is you have anywhere between 15 to 21 million people, could be even more than that, where they're living in the shadows. And that's not a good thing. I don't want that to happen. I mean, if I had my way, I would say, yeah, of course, I would love to have as many people in this country as possible. But it also severely disenfranchises the 180 other countries across the world that equally want to be here just as much, that are not within economic proximity there. So I understand the question. The other thing is this. There's isolated incidents of the United States government through ICE going after child sex traffickers, MS-13 members. But there is not mass deportations happening in this country right now. It's just not happening. Should we go after people that are smuggling guns and smuggling drugs and smuggling children? Oh my goodness, yes. Final thing is this. The porous southern border allows immoral behavior to continue. Evil behavior. Children that get smuggled across the southern border. Opioids, heroin, guns. MS-13 runs the entire southern border. This is why they fight so hard against the construction of a southern border wall. 95% of Border Patrol agents, half of which are Hispanic, by the way. The Border Patrol agents always get such a bad rap, but half of them are Hispanic. 95% of Border Patrol agents say a wall would help them better do their job to confiscate drugs and intercept children that might be in the midst of child sex trafficking. So anyway, I appreciate the question. My stance on immigration is this. Legal immigrants, huge positive, huge surplus for this country. You even saw me defend having more immigrants come to America. Border jumping and line cutting, it's not who we are. It breaks the law and it should not be tolerated. So. Thank you for your... Did you have a follow-up really quick, or make it quick because I want to get to as many questions as possible. So,
I liked your answers, state answer. I just want to know, okay, so what would you do to make it a little bit more accessible for the ones that are trying to get here legally and it's not happening?
So I think we should have an unlimited amount of genius visas and an unlimited amount of merit visas. So if you are able to prove that you have a very specific skill, and there are anywhere between 30 to 40 million people like this worldwide, I think you should be able to give them a chance to come into America. We have huge capacity in this country, massive amount of natural resources, usually land. And guess what? I get people in the conservative movement that push back against this. Charlie, we're full. Okay, I know this sounds silly. Fly from Chicago to Reno and tell me that we're full, okay? For 3.5 hours. You know, there's massive amounts of land and huge development that we can have. I believe that the only limiting factor we have is saying that ideas will somehow run out. There are studies to show that a steady flow of immigrants keep a country on its toes. It keeps a country working hard and taking risks, and it keeps other people competing against them. I think that's a really healthy thing. Someone who believes so firmly in markets, I want people that always have new business ideas. I want people that are willing to disrupt the status quo. I want the next hungry entrepreneur from Cuba or Venezuela or for South Africa. That's why we have 85 out of 100 of the most valuable companies in the world. And so anyway, I would say to expand it, it should be much quicker to legally immigrate in this country and much easier. We've made it so hard. And the President of the United States says it correctly. We're going to have a very big wall with a big door. And I think we're going to get back to the door so we understand that legal immigration is a healthy backbone to this country that we must celebrate. So thank you for your question. I appreciate it. We got to get to the next one, Seth. Thank you. Hello.
Hi. So just to start, I'm an independent, so I'm not like a liberal or anything. But so my grandparents, they came here in the 1940s, and they came here with like $40 in their pocket.
Where did they come from?
They came from Haiti.
Awesome.
And they were able to build themselves up through real estate, and they were able to send all my aunts, uncles, and my mother to college, and now they're all graduated and they're in their professions, and my mom became a doctor. So I'm pretty proud of
that's the American dream. Yeah, congratulations. That's what we're talking about.
And also, a lot of illegal immigrants account for farming work and factory work in America. And it's because a lot of people in America are unwilling to do that sort of labor. And if we curb illegal immigration, how would you propose to solve the possible amount of like under
Sure. So
performing jobs.
seasonal work visas. It's that simple. Give seasonal work visas for people that are willing to do difficult agricultural work. So all the seasonal work visas, you get a temporary social security number, you pay tax, you pay payroll tax, you pay income tax. We know who you are. If you commit a crime, we know exactly that, and we deport you immediately. Now we have no idea. We have no idea. No one can possibly argue that that's a sustainable system for the country. So that's a very simple way. But in order for there to be seasonal visas, you have to have a restriction on people cutting in line. The restriction would be a wall. And that's a key element to not redefining, but restructuring our immigration system, which is so horribly and terribly broken. And I talk about a wall, and people say, Charlie, why are you against immigration? I say, I literally have talked so much about the value of immigration. I'm against people that come here in defiance to our laws and come into the shadows and intentionally break United States immigration law. I think it's a disservice to people like your grandparents that came here in the 1940s from Haiti. That's what's best and most beautiful about this country is people that came here legally. And so when they came here legally, they were registered in the system. They were able to pay taxes, buy a house, start a bank account. And now a couple generations later, would you say your life is better than their life was? Probably, right? And so you're the story of America. So when I talk about the guarantee of America, almost very few people in America, unless your grandfather was Andrew Carnegie or John D. Rockefeller, very few people have it worse today than your grandparents did. Very few people, unless it was some titan or something horrible happened, it's 99% of Americans have it better than your grandparents did. We have progressively been getting better and better. And there's many reasons for that, but I appreciate the question. Seasonal visas would be the way that would fix it. So thank you.
Yeah, congratulations to him. Congratulations to him and his family. Because not everybody that comes here and do what they have to do and build their family and take care of their family. Sometimes, especially we the blacks, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we the blacks, our minds are some way, like we normally think backwards, always thinking about what happened, the past things. We don't move forward. Immediately you start thinking positive, you start having a positive mindset, a positive lifestyle. It moves on for you, it moves on, like it goes way beyond. But immediately you have this blacks, this, that, racism, this, that, I'm not good enough, and we cannot work, the racism is too much, whites limited, white privilege, black limitations, it keeps you stagnant, it keeps you at one place, it keeps you tied up. But then the immediately, you have this positive mindset, you have this positive energy towards life, towards everything, towards where you are, towards work. And it goes on for you. See, your life is become better and better each day. So yeah, that's the positive, that's the American spirit. They did it, and now, they've done it. They did it. They are living in a comfy, and I hope everyone learns from this. Either you could be the daughter, the son of an immigrant. You could be an immigrant yourself, and yet do so well for yourself, even more than people that they are actually a natural born bred over there. So yeah, kudos to you and your family from Haiti. We're proud of you. And the first argument, the first lady's argument too, it's there. Sometimes it's sad. You come to America, you build your life, you know how hard you work to get there, and when your life starts picking up, like doing a pickup for you, just when life starts picking up for you, you have kids, you have family now, and now they recognize you and they deport you, and you have to leave these kids there all by themselves. It's sad. It's sad, and I don't wish this for anybody. But the thing is, sometimes the truth hurts. But that's the truth. That's what makes Charlie Kirk being hated the most. But that's the truth. You cannot change the truth. He says everyone is entitled to their opinion, but not the fact. The fact is, illegal is illegal. Illegal is bad. That family, the second guy that spoke about his family from Haiti, and that they came in legally. Legally, they were registered in the system. They were able to create bank accounts. They were able to live their life, go to school, have family, and now their family their families are benefiting from the legal migration they did, and now they are there. No one is deporting anyone. No one is hunting them down. So the thing is, if you leave your country and comes in illegally, obviously there is a consequences. You obviously have to face the consequences. So if they recognize, obviously you'll be deported, and now you put your family in a jeopardy, like put your daughter in a jeopardy, and you look in the eyes of your child and you've been deported, and now it's like you are causing more let's say pain to the family you brought. So like, just do your best. I know it's not easy. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes people actually we try as much, but we don't get the opportunity. We don't get a chance. We don't even get the visa. But then if you try harder and you get it, it's worth it, because now you get to live there. No one hunting you down. And you get that free mind to work. Not always looking on your shoulders. Hey, who is coming to deport me? Hey, I have kids. Hey, who is coming to deport me? Immediately you work and you're able to do it. You get there legally. You go through the process legally. You don't get to watch your back every time. You don't get to watch who is watching you, who is coming to deport you, who is coming to arrest me, who is leaving my daughter, my child here all by himself. You understand? So the truth hurts, but I think it's the truth. If we work hard, if we try and do it legally, obviously illegal is bad. If America is full of it's a country of opportunity. We all wish to go there. We all wish to have that green cards, to go there, move there, to have family there. To have a better a better life for you and a family. I know it's the dream, but then you need to do it legally. There is no excuse to an illegal thing when you are caught. So yeah, I think it's sad if life starts to pick up for you then and you are being deported back. It's so sad. But the thing is, it was illegal, so it was never real. It was never good. So I think we should just exercise a little bit of patience, get the opportunity legally and go there, and I'm sure everything will work out. If you are working hard, you are working, you are working. You are working without looking on your shoulders, looking at your back. So yeah, I think Charlie has a point, and we should do it that way, and it will be worth it for us as it did for our Haiti black guy there. Let me know what you think about this video. If you have any subtraction, any addition, any experience to someone who experienced the same things, let's in the comment section. Let's share our stories, and I bet you it's gonna be a motivation, and it's gonna be an inspiration to someone. And if you also have any recommendations, suggestions for me, I'll be glad to check it out. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Don't forget to click on the subscription button for more notifications. Thanks for watching.